Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, the only weekly show on YouTube you can get your questions answered by a medical doctor who is also a champion bodybuilder. Show is brought to you by his book, The Bible of Bodybuilding 2. Over 700 pages packed with everything you need to know about training, nutrition, supplementation, PEDs, staying healthy, and getting in the best shape of your life. Available on Amazon.com, just like this book, Real Bodybuilding. And now, all the way from Athens, Greece, please welcome Dr. George N. Touliatos. Good morning. It's afternoon for you, sir, over there.
Yeah. So, what are your impressions about the guest posing in Pittsburgh?
I'm surprised. I think Dirk Lunsford stays in very, very good shape for off-season.
Yeah, I like the tone of his skin. It's very tight in the midsection. Even a light Christmas tree, the glutes even not striated, very tight. So, yeah, I mean, he was just like last year, if not fuller. It's going to be a tight match with Nick Walker. I think Nick is a little bit wider in the midsection.
Yeah.
It's the aesthetic part of the cows, but I think he's going to hit the top three, Nick.
I wish Hadi had been there, though. I would like to see Hadi next to Nick.
Yeah, Hadi didn't go to visa. Besides, Hadi is a little bit of tired from 3 shows in a row, Olympia and then the 2 Arnolds.
Yeah, well, Samson was there. Samson did the same 3 shows, but
Samson have a problem with the visa. His UK is much closer to US rather than the Asia.
And Rami, we wanted to see Rami, but he had visa issues also.
You think so, or Rami he's done? Well, I mean,
I think he's done. I think he's done. What about you?
But listen, according to the politics, the guy who doesn't show up in Pittsburgh, he's done. So Rami was done 2 years ago. Now Hadi doesn't appear. And we know that Hadi won the 2 Arnolds after the Olympia that was supposed to be. He was robbed, according to him. I think they gave him the 2 Arnolds, to ease up a little bit and tell him that, listen, you blew it on stage at the Olympia. That's the name of the game. You shouldn't disrespect the Godfather. I don't know. That's my idea, my perception.
Yeah, a lot of people agree with that. They think the same thing, but I guess we'll find out. I'm going to see Nick Walker at New York Pro in a few days, so can't wait to see him. I haven't seen him on stage in almost a year. Over a year. Yeah, it's been over a year now.
Yeah, I mean, Nick deserves even the special permission, even without because definitely he's the top 3. His hams looks good, huh?
Yeah, that looked. I would never know he hurt it. I think it was a minor tear. It wasn't a full tear. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into some questions, Doctor. The first one, this is a really good one. Let's get it on screen. Given the same total amount of steroids, which is safer and more effective? So those are probably 2 different things: safer and more effective. Lower dose, longer cycle, or higher dose, shorter cycle? He gives a couple examples, but I think you know what he means by that.
Yeah, so I think 16 weeks is not something smart to do, because after the week number 8, we have the so-called saturation of the receptors. Besides, these small doses, 200, 100, are not anabolic. So you waste time with that. So go for the 8 weeks, which is standard growth time, and the 400, 200, which is not considerably high,
No.
I believe that below 500 milligrams, you don't see considerable muscle growth.
Right.
And Deca 200 is not an anabolic dose. They say 600 is good for Deca.
Yeah.
But definitely the first example, yes.
Yeah, I mean, his examples for a higher dose, 200, was 400 milligrams of test and 200 milligrams of Deca. Most guys would consider that a very, very small dose. Most guys I know.
Yeah, a little higher than DRT, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, a high dose would be 1,000 grams of test, maybe 600, 800 grams of Deca, something like that. Yeah. But that's a good point, because after most guys, if you notice on your cycles, you get most of your gains in the first 8 weeks. After that, it sort of tapers off. You don't really see much difference. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is a weird question, but what the heck? Right? Dr. T, what do you think about freezing stem cells in a newborn? And did you freeze your daughter's stem cells? What do you think about using them for anti-aging treatments for the parents with them?
Yeah, we actually did. It cost about $1 grand. And we're going to use those stem cells, knock on wood, just in case we need something for the baby,
Oh,
for our daughter, or ourselves, So that's something new that happens to the newborn infants, and they remove the stem cells from the umbilical, from the cord that connects
yeah,
the
the
fetus,
umbilical cord.
the placenta.
Yeah. I mean, they're just gonna throw that away anyway, normally, right?
Well, they used to, but now they collect the stem cells out of it, which are the premature cells that they can form any kind of tissue, any kind of organ. And this is the new field of the modern medicine, the future medicine, about age management and the aging, and how to beat Father Time, fighting new diseases, making new pancreas, making new liver, making new joints.
Yeah. I mean, stem cell research has faced a lot of legal troubles in the U.S. What's the stance on the Greek government with using stem cells for research?
Yeah, well, I think this is global. There are some ethical issues about, back in 2000, it was a film from Arnold, The Sixth Day,
Yeah.
when they form a new human being out of a clone. Do
Yeah.
you remember back with this sheep, the Dolly,
Dolly the sheep. Yeah. Yeah.
that she was experimentally created for medical purposes, scientific, but then she passed away.
Mhm.
So she couldn't stand some arthritis or something like that. So I think it's too early, and there are going to be debates. Perhaps Rick Collins has a point on this. How we're going to legalize this thing for how you say it, ordinary use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That question. Do you think I know cloning humans is illegal, but do you think people have been cloning humans for a while now?
Well, officially, I have no idea.
Secretly cloning. Yeah. I think
But
they.
they're still putting his clone, and we see his clone now.
Oh man. Okay. All right. Enough about clones. Let's move on. Gentleman says, I've been on TRT for over 6 years, Sustanon at 125 milligrams a week. Recently, I decided to add Deca Durabolin at the dose of 25 milligrams every 14 days. That is a small dose. 1 ampule of Deca, 25 milligrams, for joint issues. Do you think I could use this for 2 months with no negative side effects? The total dosage would be 100 milligrams over 8 weeks. All products are pharma grade.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the lab. So ALT, AST, HDL, LDL, hemoglobin, and homocysteine. These are the main parameters. If they're all fine,
Yeah,
go for this. And blood pressure, of course. That's all.
yeah. I mean, look at that. That's 12 and a half milligrams of Deca a week. That's like
A week. That's all.
That's all he would be using for 25 milligrams every 14 days. That's 12 and a half milligrams a week. That is
For 14 days. Yes, it's a half-life, very prolonged.
Yeah.
I would say you can use half cc every week.
Yeah.
Half
Okay.
cc every week. Yeah.
All right. Another Deca question came right up because we talked about it last week. Finally, this topic came up. I want to do the Deca during the off season for men's physique, but Deca is a complete no-go for me. I'm prone to the prolactin side effects, so I tried NPP later. It appeared to work, but the same side effects kind of catch up to me. Will something like cabergoline really help that type of side, or is it better to just write those two off and not use either? I really like NPP too, so that would be a bad deal.
No, I'm not sure whether Deca always induces prolactinemia, because I used to use Deca for quite some time last year or the year before, and my prolactin was not elevated. It depends prolactin on your stress, on your sleeping schedule. Now that I'm not using Deca, my prolactin was elevated because I was stressed out with the baby.
Yeah.
So it's multifactorial. It doesn't mean that necessarily you're going to elevate prolactin. So work by evidence, okay?
Fair enough. Okay, we got one final question about loose belly skin. How to tighten a moderate amount of abdominal loose skin after weight loss or childbirth? Is high radio frequency RF treatment, external or with a high frequency wire inserted surgically, a good option? No amount of weight loss or ab exercises seems to work.
I think the best option here is a plastic surgery. You're going to remove the loose skin.
Yep.
Nothing else seems to work. Even very obese people that lean down, and downsize a lot and they lose perhaps even 200 pounds,
Yeah.
We had cases like this, 100 pounds or 200 pounds. Then this loose skin has to be cut off and removed. There's no other way to do it.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
that's just a small. You have we have shows like My 600-Pound Life. We used to have a show called The Biggest Loser. You'd see people lose sometimes I think 300 pounds, and they put their arms up and flaps of skin like this much. So at the end, after they lost that, they were candidates for the skin surgery, and they would show that procedure, and they would take off sometimes 30 pounds of skin. It was horrible, but then the people look so much better. So yeah, I mean, that's
of the stretch marks that we appear here or here,
Yeah, we're lucky.
Girl.
A tummy tuck is basically like a very minor skin surgery, isn't it?
Oh, the stretch marks?
No, for loose skin. Like women get tummy tucks because they have the loose bellies. I think they liposuction the fat, and then they stretch up and they cut a big strip of skin away and they sew it together so they have a smaller, flatter stomach. So that's basically what she needs. It's just like a tummy tuck.
It's sculpting, actually. It's not just liposuction, but it's also sculpting with the cosmetic surgery.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of scammers out there trying to sell procedures that they say they're going to get rid of the loose skin and the fat, and really, surgical intervention with liposuction and skin surgery is the only.
It can make skin more elastic. Collagen also can make skin more elastic. Even some people say vitamin E to avoid the stretch marks. But come on, when you have this amount of tissue, where it has to go? It has to be cut off,
Yeah. And, a final comment on that is that for younger people, they still have a lot more collagen in their skin. So they might have a chance of the skin going back to a smaller size.
Because after your 40s, collagen is destroyed,
Yeah.
And especially to smokers. Smokers need more vitamin C, and that vitamin C contributes to the synthesis of collagen. Yeah. But smokers are done. They have bad quality of skin. They break down.
Yeah, you've made a point. Anyone who's watched your show over the years with MD, smoking is like one of the worst things. We only think about lung cancer, but you mentioned negative side effects in like dozens of different areas that people probably not even thinking of. So if you're still smoking, guys, please think about quitting. It's so bad for you in so many ways. Horrible. Anyway, that's why Dr. T says no smoking, sleep 11 to 7. Don't drink every night. I don't know. A lot of good stuff. Anyway, that is our show for this week, guys. Please, if you have questions for next week, leave them in the comments below. Any comments you have, doesn't have to be a question. We like your feedback. Follow the doctor on Instagram at Dr. George Touliatos. And, of course, get the book, The Bible of Bodybuilding 2 on Amazon.com. A lot of the questions you guys ask every week, read this and you'll be so educated. You'll know all the answers. You'll have a great basic education. It's like a little college degree and all that stuff, really. So thank you, doctor. This is a wonderful thing you guys have access to, a medical doctor who is a champion bodybuilder. He's one of us, and he has a medical degree. So get your questions in, and thank you, doctor. Appreciate it so much. All right, guys. Thanks for watching Ask Dr. Testosterone with Dr. George N. Touliatos. We'll see you next week.